Listen, I know this is a lot. This is a lot. I understand. Okay. I had a rough night. I only slept until, I was up at about 1 a.m. I gotta put my foot up. I'm a little exhausted. I was up at about 1 a.m. and I worked for about 3.5 hours on some methylation class stuff. And then probably 4 hours. It was like 4:30 when I was like, I need to take a little nap before my alarm goes off. I had already shut my alarm off once when it went off at 4 because I was awake. So I reset it for 5 and then was like, I need to take a nap. So I slept until like 6:45. I slept like an hour and a half on the couch, maybe an hour and a half, and I had horrible dreams and snored, I could tell, in my dreams. Right, buddy? Yeah. So anyway, I'm here. I had a rough night last night. If you want to know more, you'll have to read my post that I wrote at 2:45 in the midst of death. I'm so tired. Oh my gosh. All right. The dog's grumbling at me. Good morning, everyone. All right, April 7th. Naomi, Ruth, and Boaz lived late in the period of the Judges. Hopefully soon, Cindy. Elimelech moves his family to Moab. Ruth 1 through 5. In the days when the Judges ruled in Israel, a severe famine came upon the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah left his home and went to live in the hill country of Moab, taking his wife and his 2 sons with him. The man's name was Elimelech, and his wife was Naomi. Their 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem in the land of Judah, and when they reached Moab, they settled there. Then Elimelech died, and Naomi was left with her 2 sons. The 2 sons married Moabite women. One married a woman named Orpah, and the other named a woman named Ruth. But about 10 years later, both Mahlon and Chilion died. This left Naomi alone, without her 2 sons or her husband. Naomi and Ruth return. Ruth 1:6 through 22. Then Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had blessed his people in Judah by giving them good crops again. So Naomi and her daughters-in-law got ready to leave Moab and return to their homeland. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she set out from the place where she had been living, and they took the road that would lead them back to Judah. But on the way, Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go back to your mother's homes, and may the Lord reward you for your kindness to your husbands and to me. May the Lord bless you with security of another marriage. Then she kissed them goodbye, and they all broke down and wept. No, they said, we want to go with you to your people. But Naomi replied, Why should you go with me? Can I still give birth to other sons who could grow up and be your husbands? No, my daughters, return to your parents' home, for I am too old to marry again. And even if it were possible, and if I were to get married tonight and bear sons, then what? Would you wait for them to grow up and refuse to marry someone else? No, of course not, my daughters. Things are far more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord himself has raised his fist against me. And again they wept together, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth clung tightly to Naomi. Look, Naomi said to her, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and to her gods. You should do the same. But Ruth replied, Don't ask me to leave you and turn back. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you live, I will live. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Wherever you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord punish me severely if I allow anything but death to separate us. When Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said nothing more. So the 2 of them continued on their journey. When they came back to Bethlehem, the entire town was excited by their arrival. Is it really Naomi? The woman asked. Don't call me Naomi, she said. Instead, call me Mara, for the Almighty has made my life very bitter for me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me home empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has caused me to suffer, and the Almighty has sent such tragedy upon me? So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by her daughter-in-law Ruth, the young Moabite woman. They arrived in Bethlehem in late spring and the beginning of the barley harvest. Ruth works in Boaz's field. Ruth 2, 1 through 23. Now there was a wealthy and influential man in Bethlehem named Boaz, who was a relative of Naomi's husband, Elimelech. One day, Ruth the Moabite woman said to Naomi, "Let me go out into the harvest fields to pick up the stalks of grain left behind by anyone who is kind enough to let me do it." Naomi replied, "All right, my daughter, go ahead." So Ruth went out to gather the grain before the harvesters. As it happened, she found herself working in a field that belonged to Boaz, the relative of the father-in-law, Elimelech. While she was there, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. "The Lord be with you," he said. "The Lord bless you," the harvesters replied. Then Boaz asked his foreman, "Who is the young woman over there? Who does she belong to?" And the foreman replied, "She is a young woman from Moab who came back with Naomi. She asked me this morning if she could gather grains behind the harvesters. She has been hard at work ever since, except for a few minutes of rest in the shelter." Boaz went over and said to Ruth, "Listen, my daughter, stay right here with us when you gather grain. Don't go to any other fields. Stay right behind the young women working in my field. See which part of the field they are harvesting, then follow them. I have warned the young men not to treat you roughly, and when you are thirsty, help yourself to the water they have drawn from the well." Ruth fell at his feet and thanked him warmly. "What have I done to deserve such kindness?" she asked. "I am only a foreigner." "Yes, I know," Boaz replied, "but I also know everything about everything you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. I have heard how you left your father and mother and your own land to live here among complete strangers. May the Lord, the God of Israel, whose wings you have come to take refuge, reward you fully for what you have done." "I hope I continue to please you, sir," she replied. "You have comforted me so by speaking so kindly to me, even though I am not one of your workers." At mealtime, Boaz called to her, "Come over here and help yourself to some food. You can dip your bread in the sour wine." So she sat with the harvesters, and Boaz gave her some roasted grain to eat. She ate all she wanted and still had some left over. When Ruth went back to work again, Boaz ordered his young men, "Let her gather grain right among the sheaves without stopping her. Also, put out some heads of barley from the bundles and drop them on purpose for her. Let her pick them up and don't give her a hard time." So Ruth gathered barley there all day, and when she beat out the grain in the evening, it filled an entire basket. She carried it back into the town and showed it to her mother-in-law. Ruth also gave her the roasted grain that was left over from her meal. "Where did you gather all this grain today?" Naomi asked. "Where did you work? May the Lord bless the one who helped you." So Ruth told her mother-in-law about the man in whose field she had worked. She said, "The man I worked with today is named Boaz." "May the Lord bless him," Naomi told her daughter-in-law. "He is showing his kindness to us as well as your dead husband. That man is one of our closest relatives, one of our family redeemers." Then Ruth said, "What's more, Boaz even told me to come back and stay with his harvesters until the entire harvest is completed." "Good," Naomi exclaimed. "Do as he said, my daughter. Stay with his young women right through the whole harvest. You might be harassed in other fields, but you'll be safe with him." So Ruth worked alongside the women in Boaz's field and gathered grain with them until the end of the barley harvest. Then she continued working with him through the wheat harvest in early summer, and all the while she lived with her mother-in-law. Ruth at the threshing floor. Ruth 3, 1 through 18. One day Naomi said to Ruth, "My daughter, it's time that I found a permanent home for you, so that you will be provided for. Boaz is a close relative of ours, and he's been very kind by letting you gather grain with his young women. Tonight he will be winnowing barley at the threshing floor. Now do as I tell you. Take a bath and put on perfume and dress in your nicest clothes. Then go to the threshing floor, but don't let Boaz see you until he has finished eating and drinking. Be sure to notice where he lies down, and then go uncover his feet and lie down there. He will tell you what to do." "I will do everything you say," Ruth replied. So she went down to the threshing floor that night and followed the instructions of her mother-in-law. After Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he lay down at the far end of the pile of grain and went to sleep. And then Ruth came quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. Around midnight, Boaz suddenly woke up and turned over. He was surprised to find a woman laying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. "I am your servant, Ruth," she replied. "Spread the corner of your covering over me, for you are my family redeemer." "The Lord bless you, my daughter," Boaz exclaimed. "You are showing even more family loyalty now than you did before, for you have not gone after a younger man, whether rich or poor. Now don't worry about a thing, my daughter. I will do what is necessary, for everyone in town knows you are a virtuous woman. But while it's true that I am one of your family redeemers, there is another man who is more closely related to you than I am. Stay here tonight, and in the morning I will talk with him. If he is willing to redeem you, very well. Let him marry you. But if he is not willing, then surely as the Lord lives, I will redeem you myself. Now lie down here until morning." So Ruth lay down at Boaz's feet until morning, but she got up before it was light enough for people to recognize each other. For Boaz had said, "No one must know that a woman was here at the threshing floor." Then Boaz said to her, "Bring your cloak and spread it out." He measured 6 scoops of barley into the cloak and placed it on her back. Then he returned to the town. When Ruth went back to her mother-in-law Naomi, Naomi asked, "What happened, my daughter?" Ruth told Naomi everything Boaz had done for her, and she added, "He gave me these 6 scoops of barley and said, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" Then Naomi said to her, "Just be patient, my daughter, until we hear what happens. The man won't rest until he has settled things today." Boaz marries Ruth. Ruth 4, 1-12. Boaz went to the town gate and took a seat there. Just then the family redeemer he had mentioned came by, so Boaz called out to him, "Come over here and sit down, friend. I want to talk to you." So they sat down together. Then Boaz called 10 leaders from the town and asked them to sit as witnesses. And Boaz said to the family redeemer, "You know Naomi, who came back from Moab. She is selfless. She is selling the land that belongs to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should speak to you about it first so you could redeem it if you wished. If you want the land, then buy it here in the presence of these witnesses. But if you don't want it, let me know right away, because I am next in line to redeem it after you." The man replied, "All right then, I'll redeem it." Then Boaz told him, "Of course your purchase of the land from Naomi also requires that you marry Ruth, the Moabite woman. That way she can have children who will carry on her husband's name and keep the land in the family." "Then I can't redeem it," the family redeemer replied, "because this might endanger my own estate. You redeem it, the land. I cannot do it." Now in those days it was the custom of Israel for anyone transferring the right of purchase to remove his sandal and hand it to the other party. This publicly validated the transaction. So the other family redeemer drew off his sandal as he said to Boaz, "You buy the land." Then Boaz said to the elders and the crowd standing around, "You are witnesses that today I have brought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. And with the land I have acquired Ruth the Moabite, widow of Mahlon, to be my wife. This way she can have a son and carry on the family name of her dead husband, and to inherit the family property here in this hometown. You are all witnesses today." Then the elders, and all the people of the town standing at the gate, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make this woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, from whom all the nation of Israel descended. May you prosper in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem, and may the Lord give you descendants by this young woman who will be like those of your ancestor Perez, the son of Tamar, and of Judah." Right? I love that story too. He was so loving and kind towards her when many men of that culture were not. I don't want to say all, because that's not the case, but you've read the stories of how violent they could be. How harsh, I guess is the word, harsh they could be towards women, as just was a part of their culture. But Boaz was not. He was very kind to her. I often wondered how much older he was than her. I've always wondered that. Does anybody know? I've always wondered. I have one of the verses in Ruth engraved on the inside of my wedding ring, which I don't wear anymore because it doesn't fit. Falls off all the time. I need to get it resized eventually. Someday. All right. Oh my gosh. Let me get more comfortable again. All right. Trim Healthy Mama. 100 Days of Inspiration. We're on day 97. He was a much older man. That's what I thought. But I was just curious. Bessie, what are you doing? Come here. Come over here and stop. Come here. As for our family, Micah 4:5 says, "Though all the people walk each in the name of his God, whatever captivates their attention. As for us, we will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever." Do you want this confession to be the testimony of your family? I want it to be our affirmation. As for the Campbell family, we will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever. What a great affirmation for you and your children to speak out loud each morning. As for us, put your family name here. We will walk in the name of the Lord our God. Perhaps you could all say it together at breakfast, or find the most appropriate time, especially when your husband is home with the family. What a privilege it is to walk in the name of the Lord. What a responsibility to take his name upon us, our family, and all that his holy and awesome name represents. As we make this family confession and testimony, it will remind us to conduct our lives in ways that will bring honor to his glorious name. How long are we to walk in his name? Forever and ever. It is not only for your children now. God wants each continuing generation of your family and my family to continue walking in his ways. Pray not only for your children, but also for coming generations. Fullness of Rest. Observing a day of physical rest is not only a healthy habit established by God, it was also instituted as a picture of his provision and plan for us to find perfect rest in him. Excuse me. Striving on our own is offensive to God, who wants to hold and carry us. Jesus came to fulfill the Sabbath, and he is our true rest, even beyond a particular day or list of rules. Whether we are busy at work or sipping lemonade on the porch, we can experience the fullness of rest and deeply breathe in the air of heaven that dissolves every earthly stress. When I choose my fears over his rest for me, I spit on his precious gift of Sabbath rest. How silly of me to abstain from busy work, yet still fret over something insignificant. Jeremiah 17:21 says, "Thus says the Lord, take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem, neither carry forth a burden out of your houses. Jesus is my Sabbath rest, and I profane him by bringing all manner of burdens through the gates of my heart and carrying them around in my home." Jeremiah 17:23 heightens my challenge. But they did not obey nor incline their ear, but made their necks stiff, that they might not hear and receive instruction. I want to confess, along with Isaiah 55, the Lord God hath opened my ear, and I was not rebellious. Serene. Bassie, lay down, buddy. Dad is my hero. My mom is the main cook in our family, and she is good. But on rare occasions when my dad cooks, it is special, even if the cooking isn't good. Actually, you might not call toast cooking, but that was my dad's specialty. Burnt black toast. My siblings and I would beg for it. We'd run to the kitchen as the smoke called our name. Mom could never make toast like Daddy. I'd complain how hers was always perfectly brown. I liked how Daddy's was black. This was all before THM, of course, but it's a memory I cherish. When I look back at my childhood memories of my dad, it's not the presents he gave me that are first that come to my mind, although I have those memories too. It was when he made burnt toast. Our dads are not our heroes because they buy us ponies and wear a cape like Superman. Our dads are our heroes because they are our providers, our instructors, and our caretakers, and simply because they're our dads. Maybe it was more than my love of burnt toast that got me excited. Maybe it was also because I love my dad. I like that. My dad always, he had a peanut butter jar, has a peanut butter jar. Sorry, Dad, talking to you like you're not here. He has a peanut butter jar, and he can't just get peanut butter out like a normal human being. He has to get it out, butter too. All delicate. So when the end product after he's gotten his peanut butter or his butter is this perfectly smooth butter. So I liked to come behind him and drive butter knives down into it and twist it and pull out my peanut butter that way. I also remember the scrambled eggs my grandfather used to make me, and I used to think I loved my grandfather's scrambled eggs. They were gross, and I hated when he made them because they were disgusting, and I loved them at the same time. Don't ask me why. But they always had little black bits in them, and I never knew what it was, and now I know it was Teflon. The only thing my grandfather could ever cook when he would watch me was scrambled eggs with Teflon. One time he tried to heat up a thing of spaghetti, and he asked me if he could put the pot in the microwave, and I said, I think so. I was like 10, and he did it, and it caught fire in the microwave. I remember that too. One of my biggest food memories, though, is my grandmother's bologna sandwiches. There was nothing better than gummy. We called her gummies, bologna sandwiches. White bread, mustard, cheap cheese, and bologna. But she always called it bologna meat, which was important. It wasn't just bologna. It was bologna meat. And I'm telling you what, I've never to this day made a bologna sandwich taste as good as my gummies. And if she came back today, the first thing I would do would be give her a big hug and then ask her to make me a totally off-plan bologna meat sandwich. And I would eat Gummies bologna meat sandwich with generic Doritos. Not the brand name, the store brand. That's right, Cindy. It was a fish and sandwich. You're right. It's exactly what it was. Yep. So good. So good. And now I want to get some bologna and cheese and use it on my no-carb easy bread. I might put that on my list next week, is bologna and cheese sandwiches for my lunches. Thank you for that idea. 100 Days of Inspiration. All right, you guys. So for breakfast this morning, my intention was to make French toast. I don't think, with mustard. Had to have mustard. I don't think my stomach, you hear it? I don't think I can tolerate cooking anything this morning. My stomach is jacked up. Jacked up. It's still, blah. I shouldn't even drink coffee. So I'm going to have a quinoa breakfast bowl this morning. I will come on live and say hello to everyone and talk you through my breakfast bowl that I've made 100 times because, at this point, you don't know how to make cereal on your own. But just in case you need a reminder, I got you, girl. I'll be there in just a few minutes making my breakfast bowl. I love you all. I hope you come back tomorrow for more devotions. It's the best part of the day, even when I'm tired and really want to go back to bed and be cranky. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna get up and be smiling because it makes the day better. Because I gotta work anyway. I might as well suck it up. There it is. Maybe I'll have some toast with it. Just to make sure you understand how to make toast. Actually, I probably shouldn't because I only have 20 minutes before I gotta work. And toast takes like an hour in my world. All right, you guys, I love you all. See you for breakfast in just a few minutes. Bye.